Coming up on Mountain News this morning, officials are warning parents about an increase in walking pneumonia cases among children. And it's important to learn how to recognize online scams as people begin to shop for the holidays.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, Mountain family. Happy Monday. Today's date is November 18th, and we are sitting at 6:30 this morning. We're also at that time where we check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmal for a look at our forecast before you head out the door this morning. And Megan, I didn't have a jacket. Apparently, I hoard them all in my car, so I have nothing to keep me warm, and honestly, I didn't need it.
Yeah, I didn't think I needed a jacket either this morning. I had one on and I was like, well, I mean, honestly, it feels warmer than I thought it would. I took it right back off and headed to my car. And you might need that jacket if you're a little bit on the chillier side. I know some people don't like these temperatures, but I mean, overall, we're looking at the low to mid 40s, so not a bad start to your day, especially when this time of year we're really looking at the upper 30s for this time. So it's looking quite good, and as we continue throughout the day, we're only going to continue to be even warmer than this time of year with those temperatures in the upper 60s. Again, we normally look at about the upper to mid 50s for this time of year high. So definitely getting a treat with these warmer temperatures. And as we look at that satellite and radar, it's going to be a nice and clear day from the rain. However, we do have these clouds that will stick with us throughout the next couple of hours, really just holding strong throughout the rest of your day. But for the next couple hours, let's follow that 12-hour forecast where we have those clouds. There's going to be a break in these clouds around that 1 p.m. hour and that 9 a.m. hour. Sunrise this morning, 7:17 a.m. and sunset 5:20 p.m. And I'll have your bus stop forecast in just a couple of minutes. Amelia.
All right, Megan, thank you. A Harlan County man was sentenced to 15 years in prison for conspiracy to distribute 500 grams or more of meth. According to his plea agreement, Stephen Williams was the point man for drug being brought in from Georgia to Harlan and other counties in Kentucky. The incidences happened between December 2021 and August 2022. A co-conspirator arranged for Williams to travel to Georgia and return with several kilos of the drugs for distribution in Kentucky. A Johnson County man was sentenced to 10 years in prison for distributing meth. Gary Warick was sentenced after he was convicted for conspiracy to distribute 50 or more grams of meth. During a trial, evidence was presented that he was involved in 2 controlled purchases of meth by law enforcement. In 2022, police executed a search warrant at Warick's home, finding more than 130 grams of meth. In Floyd County, 2 people are facing charges after police found drugs where children were playing inside a home. Deputies were conducting a welfare check at a home in Langley last Wednesday. Deputies later found meth, fentanyl, and drug paraphernalia mixed in with children's toys. They also found that Dustin Hoover had marijuana in his pockets. He and Christina Blankenship face wanton endangerment and multiple drug charges. An officer at a federal prison is accused of assaulting an inmate and filing a false report. 33-year-old Lieutenant Zachary Toney is accused of kicking and striking an inmate in McCreary County last year while the inmate was handcuffed and lying on the floor. Toney reportedly falsified a report and instructed the 2 officers to do the same. The charges include violations of the inmate's civil rights and attempting to cover up the assault. Toney faces up to 30 years in prison if convicted. A reported sexual assault is under investigation at the University of Kentucky. UK police say they received a report last Wednesday about the incident, which happened during the overnight hours on Sunday near the intersection of Rose Street and Euclid Avenue. Police say they have identified a suspect and are actively investigating the case. They say the victim did not know the suspect. A Whitley County man was sentenced to 18 years in prison for his role in a machete domestic attack. Daryl Earls was indicted by a grand jury for first-degree assault in 2022. The incident is when Earls reportedly assaulted 20-year-old Taylor Lowe. Earls has to serve at least 85% of his term before being considered eligible for parole. The CDC is warning about an uptick in bacteria that can cause walking pneumonia in children. Here in Kentucky, the UK Pediatric Infectious Disease Clinic says they have seen more cases of walking pneumonia than usual, particularly in school-age children. But despite the increase in cases, health officials say it's not a huge cause for concern. They say most cases typically resolve on their own, and those that don't are not difficult to treat.
Most cases would either be self-limited in that they would resolve on their own, like a viral cold, and those that don't are easily treated with oral antibiotics that can be prescribed by anyone's primary care physician.
Dr. McTeese says prevention methods rely mostly on those who are sick. He says people should stay home from school or work if they have symptoms. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is tapped to lead the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee. Paul says he will become the committee's new chair when the new Congress is sworn in on January 3rd. Paul will be in charge of a committee that has a broad jurisdiction over government operations. This includes the Department of Homeland Security. He says he will immediately move to enact President-elect Donald Trump's plan to reinstate a policy requiring asylum seekers to wait in Mexico for hearing in U.S. immigration court. There were some shakeups in the Kentucky Senate Majority Caucus, but an Eastern Kentucky native retained his position as Senate President. Senator Robert Styers was elected as Senate President once again. With this election, the Clay County native is now the longest-serving Senate President in Kentucky history. He represents the 25th District, which includes Clay, Jackson, Knox, and McCreary, Owsley, and Whitley counties. The Harlan County Judge Executive was chosen as the new president of the Kentucky Association of Counties. Dan Mosley took the oath of office last week during the organization's 50th annual conference in Louisville. Prior to being picked for the role, Mosley was also a member of the Kentucky Association of Counties Insurance Agency Board. The statewide organization represents county elected officials. The holiday season is getting underway, and so is shopping online to find the perfect gift. Officials say there are always red flags every year, but con artists often find new ways to take your money. Heather Clary with the Better Business Bureau says some of those warning signs include sites that may look like a well-known retailer, but are off by a letter or two, making them a site you're not exactly looking for.
You order something, you don't get it, they've got your money, and you can't find them. The page is gone. So you want to use extra caution if you are going to think about using something like that.
If you believe that you have been scammed or may have almost fell victim to one, you are encouraged to report it to the Better Business Bureau's Scam Tracker. As the holiday season quickly approaches and you start to think about buying gifts, business owners in the mountains encourage you to shop local. This Friday and Saturday, downtown Hazard, along with boutiques throughout the country, will host the annual Pink Weekend. Hazard and Perry County businesses who are taking part with deals, prizes, and even more will be open later than usual. Julia Smith says it's a great time for folks to do their holiday shopping.
So take a weekend and explore Hazard. There's so many people who I'll be talking to and like, Hazard has that? Oh, I didn't know. Or where's that at? That sounds really cool. So take a weekend, come out, enjoy it.
Organizers say there will also be free horse and carriage rides, hot chocolate, and a meet and greet with Santa Claus. More information on Pink Weekend, November 22nd and 23rd, can be found with this story on our website, WYMT.com.
We're looking right now at London Corbin Airport. There you can see it's nice and clear skies for right now. We have those temperatures about 44 degrees. So overall, it's not a bad start to your morning. And for the rest of the area, you can expect the mid to upper 40s. But how are those high temperatures going to look today? Well, majority of the area will be in the upper 60s. Definitely a warmer day, especially as we're in that mid-November mark. Some places even potentially seeing 70 degrees being hit today. And as we look at that satellite and radar, we do have those clouds that will be coming through, and that will be the story for today, as we're not really looking at rain, but that will come tomorrow morning and continue throughout the rest of your week. But as you're heading to the bus stop this morning, 51 degrees as you're on your way to school. Lunchtime, it'll be nice and cloudy, 66, and by the time you're heading home, that's when you'll see those upper 60s, 69 degrees and cloudy skies. Amelia?
All right, Megan, thank you, and thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:40. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. It's never too early to learn how to be kind, and one overseas school is taking the initiative to teach their students what it means to have compassion.